Alright, so we're going to do a comparison between your standard ball joints for a 2002 Dodge versus the EMF ball joints for a 2002 Dodge. So when I took the standard ball joint apart, it kind of blew apart on me. And this is the upper ball joint on this side. This is the lower ball joint. And I've got the EMF stuff all tore apart because it's easy to do and it's easy to put back together. So here's the stock piece. First of all, this cap is just pressed in to the top of the ball joint, and then it's knurled or squished in around it to hold it on. Okay, and that's the only thing holding that joint together there. Okay, and then you have your pin. It slides up and down and isn't supposed to have much wiggle room at all that direction. This one's a little wore out, especially around the bottom here. You can see kind of a ring going on there. So the black one is the EMF. Clearly a lot more beef around the head. And then it's got a grease passage that goes down and out here into a ring. A groove that's cut into it. So in that grease passage on the EMF unit goes into here, which is a steel cup. So this fits into there. This is all filled with grease to make your joints last longer. Okay, so this is a snap ring, and what it does is it goes into this groove right in there to hold this cone in. And then your pin floats in there like so. Okay, and then your cap with the O-ring on it screws in from the top into here, so the top of the ball joint. So if any of these parts wear out, you can get new ones. Your pins, the sleeve, top cap, it's all replaceable. And the nice thing, with the lower one, I'm not entirely sure with the upper one, because it doesn't seem to really adjust for pressure downwards. It just holds it on. But the upper one adjusts for pressure, or puts a preload on it with your cap, so you can adjust your preload as it wears out. So let's look at the stock upper ball joint. This is just plastic, right? And so it's got little wipers in there to catch. So the pin sits in here like this, and those wipers are what accept, or the little grooves, sorry, little grooves are what accept the grease as you're turning. But there's and then you have this little rubber sleeve that sits on top in order to keep that cone seated and apply some sort of tension. So you can see how these things wear out pretty easy, especially if you're not greasing them. You know, metal on plastic. So I think that's a huge nod to EMF ball joints as far as strength and integrity goes, just by having a metal sleeve with a grease port that puts it exactly where it needs to go. So the bottom U joint Well, let's put this top one together real quick. Okay, so got the cone. Cone goes in first, then the pin. Okay, and we'll open up the snap ring. Stay there. Oh, let's take the pin out. Then we can set that down. Come on. Okay, so that's in there. There we go. Now it's in that groove. There we go. Okay. So snap ring's in that groove. Pin goes in next. Cap. And there's the little Allen head. EMF in all their videos and instructions says always remove this so you don't jack the threads up prior to messing with any of their ball joints. Good advice, 'cause it won't move, it will jack up threads. Okay, so that's all this stuff. So the lower ball joint, bring this over here, it's got two cups that go on either side, both steel as well. There's your grease hole. Okay, here's the cup that it sits in with the zerk that sits off to the side, so you have a full zerk, so you can keep it greased even with a axle shaft in there rotating. Right there, that's where your Allen set key goes. Okay, so this like so. Okay. Oh, I messed it up. This is a lot easier to do outside. Oh, come on. Yeah, the other one that I stuck in, I made the mistake of doing it without the pin in, you know, with the thought of, well, if the pin's out, then I can't mess up threads, etc., etc. Let's see. It's a lot harder to do upside down on the truck than this, and this is a pain in the neck. There we go, got it back together, cool. Alright, just some finagling, and that's good to go again. Okay, so that's got to sit underneath that lip there to hold everything in place. Okay, and then your cap here, this is what applies tension. There it goes. So something Clayton says from EMF, dude that made these things, is that it's very easy to over tension them. You want them to be loose where you can't feel the metal. Like right here, I can feel the metal on metal action. Still some. Right there. That should be about where it goes. And that's going to change a little bit once you grease it too. But, anywho, yeah. Looks about 20 pumps of grease to fill this one up, and it's about 10 pumps of grease to fill the lower one up. So 20 for the upper, about 10 for the lower, and then keep wiggling the knuckle back and forth to get it everywhere it needs to go as you're greasing it too. Anywho, that's all I got. Hope you enjoyed.